Okay, so it really pains me to do this video, but I'm going to do it anyway. Simone Biles is actually proving a lot of things right now. Now, before I get started, if you're a person that's got like a 2-second attention span and you react based off of thumbnails, this is not the video for you. Please don't even bother leaving a comment, okay? We're going to actually get into some real stuff here. And after you watch the video, if you want to leave a comment, great. Let's engage, but we can do it respectfully. Now, Simone Biles, before we get into the main stuff, let's make it very clear here. This is a young lady who's very accomplished in the world of gymnastics. In fact, she is considered the most decorated gymnast in gymnast history, in gymnastics history. She has 11 gold medals and 30 world championship medals. When it comes to the sport itself, this young lady, she's just simply amazing. She's a great example of achievement, to many, many young women all over the world. And this is the Simone Biles that I have defended over and over again for years. And I'm going to get into that. Not just me, but many other fans of hers. Because she has faced a fair amount of criticism to get to this point. Now, when she had to face the world for all the criticism that she was getting because of her body size and type, it was her fans and black men, I may add, that came to her defense.
Question I wish people would stop asking me is, how tall are you? Are you going to grow? I'm not going anywhere. I'm 4'8". I'm stuck. I'm Simone Biles, and I love my body because it helps with gymnastics and it teaches younger girls to love their bodies as well. I think I've learned to love my muscles a lot more than when I was younger. I got made fun of for my arms a lot. Some people would say mean things. They used to call me a soldier. At the time, it didn't make me feel the best, so I wore sweaters or jackets all year long. Now I show off my arms all the time. To me, healthy body image is when you feel confident in yourself, in and out. To body shamers, let me say. I feel like if you love your body, then that's all you can do, so it doesn't matter what anybody else says. So I think they have to learn to fall in love with themselves, and I think it's out of jealousy sometimes. I would actually say Allie Raceman helped me a lot with my body confidence issues. She's taught me a lot along the way, but most of the time it's just love yourself. It doesn't matter if you don't want to wear makeup that day, if you don't want to do your hair that day. You're human too, so do what you like. My favorite outfit I've ever worn, besides Aaliyah, would probably have to be Golden Globes. Because I got to wear this long gold dress, and it was very beautiful, and I felt confident.
When there are numbers of black women who criticized her and even made fun of her hairstyle, and the way she was wearing her hair. Once again, it was her real fans and even black men like myself who took to platforms like this to defend her and just pointed out how it was not only wrong, it was very destructive on how they were attacking one of their own, and to this day, it still doesn't make sense. I'll put some articles up here of other people who were calling out this group of people who were attacking her based on how she was wearing her hair. And do you remember the criticism she was getting because of the wedding, the type of wedding she chose to have? She started having a private ceremony, and then people said, had some criticism about that, so she did a large one instead. You had people criticizing her about that as well. You also had people criticizing her regarding her husband. There was some things that her husband said. Again, it was her real fans, and including black men, I'm going to keep emphasizing this, that defended her and said, let this woman be. Let her be. If that's what she wants to do, that's her choice. Now, when it comes to defending black women, honestly, do I have anything really to prove to many of you who are watching here? Not really, because no matter what I say, you won't believe it anyway. But I will tell you this. I've been married close to 30 years now to the same beautiful woman that I love very dearly, that I have supported every last second of it. And if I had a choice to do it again, I certainly would. Same thing. I have a beautiful daughter. Same thing. Even to this day, even in her adulthood, I have supported her and loved her and defended her over and over and over again. I have a beautiful mom who raised me, who not only she defended me and protected me and loved me, but I had the opportunity as she's gotten into her older years to be able to give some of that back. Not only that, I've had the opportunity through all of that time to watch how my great father was able to demonstrate how to love, cherish, and to protect a beautiful black woman. And by his example, I was able to carry that into my own marriage and be able to model after that. So that's my word against whatever you choose to believe, but that's my story, and that's what I'm sticking to. Now, recently, Simone Biles got into an online spat with another female athlete by the name of Riley Gaines. If you're not familiar with her, she was a multi-champion collegiate swimmer who basically began to raise the issue and really protest against the fact that she had and her teammates had to compete against a man who was pretending to be a woman, and he's going by the name of Leah Thompson or Thomas. And, and she, like many other women and a lot of other parents of those women, put their foot down and say, no, enough is enough. This is not fair. And not only that, this is not right. And not only that, we feel very uncomfortable being in dressing rooms with people like this. And it's just not a fair competition at all when you're including men with their body types and their abilities competing against women who have trained very hard for their own separate and unique and very competitive competitions. Riley Gaines has been someone who's been very outspoken against men competing in women's spaces. And I, like many other people, I agree with that. Now, as a parent of a daughter, if my daughter was still competing and she was in sports, I would take the same take. I think women should compete in women's spaces and men should compete in men's spaces. I don't care what you decide to call yourself one day. At the end of the day, I think it should be separated like that, and we can learn to appreciate both in their own uniqueness. But now I want to read to you the actual tweet that Simone Biles posted on social media in response to, I believe it pretty much the stance that Riley Gaines has taken when it comes to her stance on men competing in women's sports. I have my phone right here, so I'm gonna read it. So she and I'll put it on the screen here too. She says, Riley Gaines, you're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Maybe a transgender category in all sports. But instead, you bully them. One thing for sure is that no one in sports is safe with you around. Interesting. We're going to comment on all this in a moment. And then she came back and followed up with this one. She said, bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male. Now, there's a couple of things I want to pull out in what she posted there. Number one is this whole body shaming thing. You caught that shade at the end there, basically comparing Riley Gaines' body type to a male. Now, this is very interesting coming from someone who they themselves, speaking of Simone Biles, who also had to deal with body shaming from mainly a lot of other women. Now, the second thing worth mentioning here is that the irony here is that Simone Biles, all those wonderful awards that you rightfully earned, you earned those by competing against not men pretending to be women, but against other women. In fact, here are some examples of you trying to do the events, the type of events that men do in gymnastics, and this is how you measured up. Now, here's another example of other female gymnasts who are also trying to do the events that men do in their section of in gymnastics. Let's take a look at that. So when I see these things, I mean, of course, they're just having fun and all of that, but it also proves a point. It doesn't, for me, when I look at that, I don't see women as lesser or anything like that. I just understand, respect, and appreciate the fact that our bodies, from a gender perspective, are different. And I think that's okay. I love watching women's sports, at least most of them. I'm still having an issue with WNBA, but outside of that, when it comes to track, when it comes to tennis, when it comes to a lot of other women's sports, I absolutely love watching them because I really love watching the competition. Same thing with men's sports, it's the same thing. But when you are trying to convince yourself that somehow that these two groups can compete on the same level, well, it just doesn't add up at all, and it's not true. I don't care how you try to frame it, it's not true. And again, as I pointed out earlier, Simone Biles, all the awards and trophies that you won because you have spent our entire career training against other women. Now, here's a video clip that I was able to find. This is of a woman by the name of Julia Pena, and she's a UFC championship fighter. And she is going to share a quick story here of that time when she thought she could measure up in terms of body style and type and ability to fight and all that stuff with a man. It's a very interesting story. Let's take a listen.
My stupidity thinking that I could beat a man. I went into the back alley while I was serving and I fought the line cook, going at each other for a long time. A long story. He dropped me 3 times. I got dropped. I popped right back up. I went at him again. He dropped me again. I had my eye swollen shut for 3 days and 11 stitches in my eye. I thought that I could fight a man. I don't have any ego to be like, I could beat a man. Learned my lesson. I don't want anything to do with fighting dudes. I actually was in my head of being like, no, I'm a pro fighter. I can fight this guy and I'm going to beat him. Juliana, he's 6'3", you're 5'6". Like, take that into account, or like trying to like bob and weave your way in there to like get him down. All I got to do is get in close and take him down and then I'll choke him. I couldn't even do that because the second that I tried to enter, I was getting dropped. I got fired and he got to keep his job.
Now, here's a question that I would definitely ask of Simone Biles is, if the person that you spent a lot of time accusing, this was your former coach, Larry Nasser, I hope I'm saying his name right, who basically, did some things to you and other gymnasts, female gymnasts, and now fortunately he's in prison and hopefully he'll be in prison for a very long time. Would you have an issue if he were to come out and say, you know what? I now identify as a woman. Please move me to a women's prison.
I am also a survivor of sexual abuse, and I believe without a doubt that the circumstances that led to my abuse and allowed it to continue are directly the result of the fact that the organizations created by Congress to oversee and protect me as an athlete, USA Gymnastics, and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee failed to do their jobs. I don't want another young gymnast, Olympic athlete, or any individual to experience the horror that I and hundreds of others have endured before, during, and continuing to this day in the wake of the Larry Nasser abuse. To be clear,
Take your time.
To be clear, I blame Larry Nasser, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse.
Now, I want you to take all those unfortunate, dark experiences that you had, right? The things that you testified about in Washington. Would you feel comfortable with this man all of a sudden deciding, hey, I want to be a woman, put me in a women's prison? Would you co-sign on that happening? This is a real question that she probably wouldn't answer. And for those that will say, well, listen, that's a very bad example because Larry Nasser, again, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he never proclaimed to be a trans or anything like that. But I got plenty of examples here that I'm going to share with you of trans people who have a long history of doing some very dark and unfortunate things to children, to other women. Let's just take a quick look at it. And again, and let's be clear, even though this is not representative of all trans people, which I completely understand, for such a tiny minority of our society to have this amount of reports coming out of this tiny minority is a very concerning thing. And for anybody to sit up here and to think that somehow we can just, that demographic should be pushed in one of our most vulnerable other demographics, I don't know what this person is even thinking. And with that kind of logic, little girls and even our women, they do deserve our protection for those that actually want it. The kind of protection that Simone Biles should have had when she was going through her own ordeal.
I don't want another young gymnast, Olympic athlete, or any individual to experience the horror that I and hundreds of others have endured before, during, and continuing to this day in the wake of the Larry Nasser abuse. To be clear,
Take your time.
Now, the last thing I will bring up is that Simone Biles actually represents a fragment or a significant fragment of a demographic within particularly amongst black women, who have used their platforms, podiums, to actually push this LGBTQ agenda. And unfortunately, Simone Biles has added her name to that list. And this is exactly the kind of rationale and reasoning that a lot of straight black men were standing up against during the recent elections, because you had former Vice President Kamala Harris, who took a firm stance for LGBTQ.
Do you approve like claims and stuff or assistance for like youth who want to transition and stuff like that?
I've done so a few times actually. I don't see as many as I would enjoy seeing. I don't even think we alert them at that point. It was like a runaway youth. We have special circumstances. We don't alert a parent if they were on a previous case. We just need their word that they are not at home. So if someone, let's say, is a runaway youth, and they're staying at a friend's house or something, and the family finally brings them in, they apply for benefits, we can approve the benefits for the child by themselves, and we can pull them off their parents' case.
Yesterday, we showed you a hidden camera video of Nevada Department of Health and Human Services employee Deshaun Mack. Deshaun also said that he used his position to help minors get sex reassignment surgery, in some cases without the consent of their parents. He said he has approved claims for youths who want to sexually transition, and went on to say, quote, "I don't see as many as I would enjoy seeing."
Do you approve like claims and stuff or assistance for like youth who want to transition and stuff like that?
I've done so a few times actually. I don't see as many as I would enjoy seeing. I do see a lot of queer people. I did help a trans girl the other day. Not the other day, a few months ago. That we all blurred together.
Deshaun said he advised a trans girl that in order to get feminization surgery, this person should find a doctor who would claim it was medically necessary. That way, Medicaid would pay for it.
So, and she had specifically asked me about feminization surgery. I told her the best way to do it would be to make sure that your doctor says it is medically necessary, so that Medicaid pays for it. Because she would ask me about it, and I'm like, that's, the way to get it done. Otherwise, it's cosmetic.
Most disturbing, Deshaun explained how he would classify young people seeking transition surgery as runaway youths. That's right, quote, runaway youths, so that their disapproving parents could be kept in the dark.
But if a kid doesn't want their parents to know or something like that, like you're
If they're,
You're not allowed to out them to their parent who might disapprove or whatever.
well, if they're, especially if they're runaway youth, we have special circumstances for that. We do not actually tell anyone. I don't even think in that circumstance we let our sister agency, DCFS, Division of Child Care and Family Services, I don't even think we alert them at that point. It was like a runaway youth. We have special circumstances. We don't alert a parent if they were on a previous case. We just need their word that they are not at home. So if someone, let's say, is a runaway youth, and they're staying at a friend's house or something, and the family plan brings them in, they apply for benefits, we can approve the benefits for the child by themselves, and we can pull them off their parent's case.
Deshaun told our reporter that if a parent asked to see their own child's medical records, he would deny them.
The parent comes in and says, "Oh, hey, where's so-and-so?" I don't know. I can't even tell you that your child is receiving benefits because you're not on that case.
Is that like something you guys decided to do because you want to help people out, or is that something that's always been in place?
Well, it's kind of always been in place. That's something personally that I would not do, whether it was on the books or not. I'm not giving that information. It's just, it is what it is. The parents don't need to know that you're transitioning. You can just go to the doctor. Because at a certain age, they want the child themselves to fill out their own medical paperwork. I'm trying to think. I don't think we have a law like that at all. If a trans teen came in and spoke to a doctor, I don't believe the doctor would have to disclose that information to the parent. Also, obviously, HIPAA falls into there as well. So the parent was there. I don't even think they would give the request medical record.
You probably have kids that come in and tell you that they want assistance, but their parents are not okay with it, or they don't want their parents to know, or stuff like that.
I think I did have something like that happen.
I'm sure kids are scared.
Correct. And then, obviously, they should be. Unfortunately, I have referred people to the center a few times, actually. But at that point, I would just treat them as a runaway youth.
Even if they're not.
Yeah.
Wow. So that provision about runaway youths, you would just apply to a kid who wants to transition, but their parents don't want them to.
Yeah.
Just help them out.
Yeah. I would have to, but they're like, well, I need medical for this, and my parents start saying no.
Again, as an individual, let me just be clear here. I personally do not care, nor do I lose any sleep over anybody's personal choice on what they want to identify as. I really don't. It's not an issue like that for me. It really isn't. However, what I am for is I'm 110% pro-family. Particularly, I am pro-black family. I believe in that there should be one man, one woman, and then the children. That is it. If you introduce anything else within that segment at all, you're adding in a whole lot of other elements there that, quite frankly, there is just not enough science at all to prove that this should be considered normal, especially when you're dealing with a condition, when you're talking about transgenderism, something that just not too long ago was considered a mental issue. So when black women like Simone Biles takes this stance that, in this case, being very pro LGBTQ, what that does, it actually endangers the family structure. And so this is the kind of things that we see coming out of this 92%, and this is what they call themselves, demographic, that again, it makes things worse, for the black family and the many other issues that the black family need to address and are addressing right now. And what makes this really sad to me is that Simone Biles, as I said in the beginning of this video, from an athletic perspective, is someone that I will continue to respect on that level, because you can't take that from her. However, she made the decision to soil that reputation that she built over all of these years over something like this, and that's just very unfortunate. And that's something that, quite honestly, me, along with many other people, I can't stand behind that. And those are watching this right now, you may say, so what, big deal, whatever. But I do know that there are many, many other people like me who feel the same exact way. And, and I hope the clapback is pretty hard, because it needs to be. If you have any comments that you would like to add to this video, please just add it right below in the comments below. Like, just as I treated this topic with the utmost respect, I would ask that you would do pretty much the same thing. And let's keep this conversation going, because this is a very important topic, and it's one that involves not only our dear precious women out here who have already things that they have to contend with in the workplace and just in the general world, but also for our little girls as well. This does need to be a serious conversation, and we need to treat it with all seriousness. And I think what Simone Biles did, it needs to be reprimanded harshly, and while at the same time keeping it respectful. So that's all I have on this topic. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys take care, and we'll be talking again soon.